Diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI programs were designed to help businesses become better places for marginalized groups to be accommodated. DEI initiatives were working so that people with disabilities could access services and jobs. Since the current administration began, DEI programs are being eliminated and companies are discontinuing their DEI programs to comply with the new laws. Kayla Allen Omeiza and I are going to discuss the impact of DEI erasure for Black autistic communities. Kayla will emphasize the importance of prioritizing actions over arguments and staying true to values. Kayla will highlight the challenges of being a DEI hire and the need for structural changes. Kayla and I will also talk about the necessity of community building and interdependence to navigate these challenges effectively. Welcome to this episode of Today's Autistic Moment.
Forever, so let yourself shine. Every time you feel you're down on yourself, look inside, you'll find you got what it takes. Yeah, I can tell you can make it, you can reach the top. Here's your chance, just take it. The ones to
Today is your day on Today's Autistic Moment, a podcast for autistic adults by an autistic adults, where autistic adults get to be yourselves in a space that is safe and made especially for you. Come on in and have a seat or go for a walk. In this safe space, you fidget and stim all you like. This first segment of Today's Autistic Moment is sponsored by the Autism Society of Minnesota, known as AWESOME throughout Minnesota's autism community. As Minnesota's first autism resource for more than 50 years, AWESOME serves the whole state, the whole spectrum for the whole life. Visit AWESOME at ausm.org. Before we dig into today's topic, I want to give some basic information about today's Autistic Moment to help all listeners find our many resources. Please visit todaysautisticmoment.com, where you can listen to the podcast, get transcripts, program updates, and read the guest bios pages. You can also visit the Adult Autism Resources links page. Please visit the Future Shows page to read the titles, guests, and descriptions of all the shows coming up. The transcripts are sponsored by Minnesota Independence College and Community. There is a link provided to get access to a document form of the transcript without the purple-colored background so that you can print it without using up the ink on your printer. The written document has a font that is accessible for dyslexics. There are additional transcripts available in Spanish, German, French, and Chinese simplified. The transcripts have hyperlinks that are mentioned by the guests. Please follow Today's Autistic Moment on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky. Join Today's Autistic Moment community group page on Facebook for conversations and updates. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel at Today's Autistic Moment to watch Autistic Voices Roundtable discussions. On Wednesday, February 26th at 2 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, there will be a new episode of Autistic Voices Roundtable discussion entitled I Am Autistic, I Am Not Disordered. Eric Garcia and 3 other panelists will answer some comments that have been made that autism, other neurodivergence, and differences are a threat to society and that their prevalence needs to be reduced. Our panelists will talk about being autistic as a unique identity and how we are not disordered. Though autistics have disabilities because of the microaggression of ableism that society uses to marginalize autistics, we do have strengths to achieve success that go unrecognized. This episode of Autistic Voices Roundtable discussion will be live and recorded on the YouTube channel at Today's Autistic Moment. Over this past month, there have been restrictive actions that are impacting our intersectional autistic communities. Just recently, an executive order stated that autism, obesity, ADHD, and other, quote, conditions are a threat to society. Other actions have been seeking to erase transgender individuals, many of whom are neurodivergent. These activities trigger anger, fear, sadness, confusion, a sense of hopelessness, and complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Your feelings about what is happening are valid. The actions that have been taken are unjust because they feed a culture of rejection and violence based on misinformation. Today's Autistic Moment, our network of autistic advocates and sponsors, support the full inclusion of all our intersectional autistic communities. We will continue to have guests and shows that advocate for the autistic culture. Today's Autistic Moment's focus of navigating the future of multidimensional autistic leadership is about helping you and me find ways we can make our way forward in these very difficult times. After this first commercial break, Kaylin Allen Omeiza will join me as we discuss Black autistic leadership in a time of DEI erasure. Today's Autistic Moment can be downloaded and heard on most podcast apps, including Apple, Google Play, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, iHeartRadio, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Spotify, TuneIn, Pandora, Amazon Music, Audible, Podcast Addict, Podcast Chaser. If you are looking for the transcripts, go to todaysautisticmoment.com, click on the episode you want to listen to, and follow the directions to find the transcripts. Thank you for listening to Today's Autistic Moment. Support for today's Autistic Moment comes from Best Care Home Care Agency. Best Care offers PCA services, and your friend or family member could be your paid PCA. Best Care also offers homemaking, FMS services, and 2, 4, 5D services throughout the Metro and Greater Minnesota. Visit their website, bestcaremn.com, to learn more about their services.
Support comes from Minnesota Independence College and Community, a life and career skills program for young adults with autism and learning differences. Help a young adult take a step towards their independence and a vibrant life. Learn more at miccommunity.org.
Autistic adults aren't getting the support we need. It affects our health, our income, financial stability, and our ability to live independently. ITI Assistive Technologies is changing that. This autistic-led team has created Decide, with tools built for neurodivergent minds. One lets users quickly pick from custom lists based on their energy level. The other guides them through big decisions using simple agree-disagree statements that match their values. Visit itiassist.com/decide for more information about downloading the app to get all features for just $5 a month. Kayla, Alan, Omeiza, thank you so much for joining me for today's Autistic Moment. I am very grateful that you accepted my invitation to be here, so welcome.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad you're here because we are in Black History Month, and we're in a time of DEI being erased, being turned off. And there's lots of opinions floating around about whether it's a good thing to do or a bad thing to do. And so, as we were discussing before we started talking in this interview, I've been seeing lots of posts by various groups thinking it's only about them. We need to recognize that DEI affects all marginalized groups, really. And so I think we want to really talk about that. To start off, let's build a foundation for our conversation today. What does Black autistic leadership look like in a time of DEI erasure?
Sure. I think in terms of Black autistics leading, I think well, we've always had like this issue with like perceptions of like, oh, is this person a DEI hire kind of thing. So I mean, I think that's probably a big challenge now. Like, oh, are we just grandfathered DEI hires, especially if we're in corporate or like business owners or business executives, for example. I think it's really important for us yeah, myself included, to prioritize like not um it's easier. I mean, it's like, for lack of a better word, like just rest, basically prioritize not always having to take up the fight, like like arguing back with those people that are saying all those words, like just kind of, yeah, just kind of counter it with, yeah, with your actions, with by just being a better person. You could quote Michelle Obama, to go high. and and yeah, and just staying with your values and morals, because ultimately when we're the ones that, when we're hearing all of these negative feedback about, yeah, anti-able, like, yeah, ableist talk, racist talk, and then, yeah, then this, all these myths about autism too, all this, like all these other intersectional differences, that all these intersectionals, basically bullets that can, bullets that can attack us with words, primarily, or even actions, just trying to, yeah, make more ceilings for us. I think it's really important that we realize that when when we internalize and react, we're the ones that are getting affected, not them. They're the ones that are going to sleep really happy at night. And yeah, meanwhile, I'm the one that's, yeah, up, yeah, being really resentful, being really annoyed. And no matter how much I'm like arguing back, it does not work. The best thing to do
Yeah.
is just to kind of take the high road. And that's my plan.
Yeah.
Is to
Yeah.
continue to fight quietly, but also to like to make sure I uplift, yeah, those in, yeah, all my communities as much as I can, but just kind of ignore everyone that wants to kind of poke poke at me.
I did a survey on LinkedIn and I asked the question, are DEI regulations genuine acceptance or conditional acceptance? I only got 11 votes, but 82% answered that DEI is conditional acceptance. Um, which implies that DEI was another opportunity for businesses to tokenize us. It, Autistics, as well as people of color, uh,
Mhm.
and many other of the marginalized groups. Um, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, in a way, I would agree. I think there are some sincere organizations that made actual structural changes, and those are the ones that obviously are probably continuing to utilize DEI today. The ones, yeah, it's pretty clear the ones that stopped it, or yeah, it was more, yeah, in my opinion too, it was more tokenization. Of course, is we need people to analyze the effects. There's any more diversity in recruiting, and any ways to like make things more accessible in the workplace. But I was sometimes, I'm joking with my husband, or my family, and like my parents, for example, and we're just always hearing like, oh, these DEI hires, and like, yeah, it's creating all these unfair advantages, and we're just looking like what are these unfair advantages? Like, how is it, like, I mean, how is it unfair that, like, for example, like, yeah, like my husband, who's a black man, applied for like, yeah, 500 jobs, and yeah, and got one. How is that unfair for him to get that job versus like somebody who applied to 50 and didn't get any? He kind of thing. It was just like, to me, it was just like, wait. I didn't, I think both of us, we always like kind of joke with each other like, oh, like no one's here to save us. So, like, there's no company that's just gonna like rescue us. And I think
Yeah.
black people, disabled people, um, um, realize that before, after, like, yeah, before DEI, during, and now post
Yeah.
DEI. I
Yeah.
think we realize that nothing's really, yeah, there's no like, oh, now we have the same level playing field as this. It's never, yeah, it's just we have to be, yeah, four times, yeah, twice as good to have half as much. It's just one of those things that that I grew up being, I grew up being taught. And I definitely kept that in mind when I want to reach particular goals.
Yeah.
And I see that played out. I'm just like, wait, how is, yeah, we see that, yeah, there's so many autistic individuals that want to work that aren't, that can't.
Right.
And I don't, so I definitely want to go verify, but I don't think that that rate has gone up. That's gotten better
Hmm.
over under DI. African Americans have the lowest household income in the country. Yeah, and we did before DEI. So it's
Yeah,
just like, yeah, where is this unfair advantage? Like, how is it? Yeah, yeah. Like besides, yeah, like maybe like one like celebrity getting like one more extra, yeah,
yeah,
um, pay bonus. Like where is yeah, how is this actually affecting? Like how is this like actually leveling the playing field? And besides like kind of yeah, and making yeah people besides just opening ourselves up to people just saying, oh, you're a DI hire, for example, when that's not the case.
yeah. The one point that I kind of go back to, and I've been saying this on a few shows already, but what I feel is that when corporations and companies were required to have those things in place, and of course, doing so meant there was an quote advantage for them because you know certain they got to say, okay, we are a DEI, we recognize equal rights for people, and then with these things, there's always a loophole for some business to just not do it, you know. But
Sure.
basically, it was a business advantage, and now that it's come along, that they're realizing that there is no advantage, and now they're going away. I mean, they just chose to just sweep them all under the rug, which tells me that, as with most businesses, it's about their bottom line. It has nothing
Yeah,
to do with their actual desire to be inclusive.
exactly. Yeah, I felt like, yeah, like you said, is it a business advantage? Yeah. Is it a consumer advantage? Is it an employee advantage? Yeah, I don't think so. Basically, yeah,
Yeah,
that's my opinion too. Yeah,
you know.
but yeah, it was definitely a business advantage when it was, and it's not when it's not, basically, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, it's the same kind of thing that communities go through. Black History Month, for example. Suddenly, we're all talking about the history of Black people, and we're talking about everything from you know a lot of uh, those channels on cable or Roku. They're showing Roots, and they're showing all the
Okay.
stuff that comes through, and then as soon as Black History Month's over, they put those away. In
Yeah.
in April, when we have Autism Acceptance Month, they're pulling out all their autism stuff, showing how
Right.
businesses are supporting one organization after, and we go through it during Pride Month. They pull out all the rainbows, pull out all the stuff, and they sell it, and then after that, nobody sees it anymore. I mean,
Sure.
you know, it's really an external. It's as I say, it's a conditional acceptance on all these communities. It's how they make money. It's not. I don't think it has anything to do with whether or not they genuinely mean to serve these communities. You know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know what else to add besides just yes. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. As autistics, I mean, I'm talking this year about navigating the future of multidimensional leadership here.
Hmm.
And what I want to one of the things I'm trying to do this year is recognize that autistics, we have abilities to lead. We have so many um multi dimensions. We are neurological, we are physical, we are cultural, we are social, we are relational, awareness and avoidance through masking. We are engaged. I mean, our autistic individuals, however they're doing it, they're leading somehow. I mean, as you've explored it for yourself, can you think of any particular ways that you have found that you are leading here?
Um, I guess I guess to answer the question of uh what I guess there's two questions here, like what am I leading and how am I leading it?
Yeah.
Um, so I guess with what I'm leading, yes, I definitely lead my nonprofit and direct um, my advocacy initiatives as well as my books and trying to understand what readers want to what we want to feel seen about basically, and and also what we want others to know, like yeah, like neurotypicals, yeah, for people of color, like yeah, white individuals, like yeah, it's all like what so what will make us, like the target community, feel comfortable, and what like and feel feel that this book is necessary. It's changing their lives basically. It's making them feel seen in a way that they haven't before, and it's comforting. And then also and also secondary where those in research and education, etc., um, feel feel a way that they're learning basically too. Um, that's definitely I've definitely been leading. I've been kind of training my like for example like my marketing director to help me analyze all of that too. And I guess with how I it's actually in my upcoming, well, not my upcoming book that I'm writing right now, so it's not like it's in press or anything. But the with my coin term, the hedonic flywheel effect, how like we just kind of cultivate our passions and our interests to kind of to get us to get us to this kind of level, to get us to a level where where we're seeking more information, we're connecting with others about it, and we're just kind of we're following it, we're utilizing like our special interest, and we're utilizing our unique talents and what suits us, and our newfound connections to get to these higher levels of leadership, and relationships in general too, in all forms. And I'm really proud of how my life has turned out by following these principles, and I'm really excited to share it with others. I mean, what I just said was a good summary of it, of course. And I think that's definitely the power that we have in leadership, especially all of having such intersectional identities.
After this next commercial break, Kayla and I will talk about creating environments by reaching out to the individuals impacted by what is happening. We will also talk about the importance of interdependence.
Hello, autism community. My name is Lisa Morgan. I'm an autistic adult too, and I know firsthand what it feels like to be unintentionally harmed by well-meaning professionals when reaching out for help. My passion is to help autistic people find and use their own unique strengths to help themselves. Are you rule-based, a literal thinker, have a focused interest? Let's figure out together how to use the strengths of autism to find solutions. I offer life coaching for autistic adults and individualized workshops for professionals. To find out more, go to autismcrisissupport.com.
Today's episode is brought to you by Matthew, the #ActuallyAutistic coach. If you're an autistic adult seeking support, or a friend, family member looking to better understand and assist autistic adults, Matthew is your go-to resource. As a seasoned teacher, consultant, and mentor, Matthew is dedicated to empowering the autistic community. He offers free support groups for autistic adults, educational workshops, and online meditation circles for mindfulness. For organizations, Matthew provides specialized training sessions on inclusivity. With over 15 years of mentoring autistic entrepreneurs, he offers personalized one-on-one coaching, guiding individuals to start businesses, manage careers, and build healthy relationships while embracing their authentic autistic selves. Matthew believes in thriving, not just surviving. Visit theautisticcoach.com today for a more empowered future. Today's Autistic Moment is the best podcast where our intersectional communities are well represented through creating safe spaces for in-depth conversations like Kayla Allen Omeiza and I are having today. I am working to be sure that I maintain this podcast where the voices of autistic adults are front and center. I need some help from all of you to maintain today's Autistic Moment podcast equipment and software running in tip-top shape. Please go to todaysautisticmoment.com and click on Support Today's Autistic Moment. You can click on the coffee icon, that's KOFI icon, to make a one-time donation. You can also tap on the Patreon icon to become a monthly subscriber. Donations to Today's Autistic Moment are not tax deductible. You can also support the podcast by going to the logo shop to purchase a 16-ounce drinking cup or a lapel pin. Thank you for supporting Today's Autistic Moment. Well, you're already leading into my second question, so I'm going to ask it, and then I'm going to ask you to talk more about what you're doing. We know that autistics are engaging regarding Black Autistics leading in this time of DEI erasure, and how can we create environments to affect change? I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about your organization, what you do, and then tell us about your books, because I see those as helping to create environments, if you will.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, you nailed it actually. Yes, exactly. This is definitely what I hope to do, basically. And yeah, it seems like that's what's definitely surfacing, especially after the release of my last book. So yeah, I have three books. I started with my fiction book, Afro Autistic, which was about a Black autistic teen girl going to school. I wrote it mainly because I didn't see another book like that, like about a Black autistic teen girl like going to new school, basically. And I thought it would be useful for somebody like, for example, I wasn't diagnosed until I was 24. I feel like it would have been extremely like if a 15-year-old me ran into that book, or anybody in my sphere ran into that book, I would have been diagnosed not at 24, basically. And I would have probably gotten help and support significantly earlier. So I wrote it for those young Black girls out there, basically, and their community members, to see like another representation of Black autistics. I also wrote like a spin out novel. Like it was extremely fun to write. The Worst Saturday Ever, about one of the characters in Afro Autistic. There was a line in Afro Autistic where the character Samuel went like, "Oh, I didn't like the summer camp 2 years ago. It was the worst Saturday ever." And my imagination just got going, and I wrote a whole dystopian novel about it. That talks about, it's really allegorically talks about like the pitfalls of AI, and like, I'm sorry, unregulated AI, to be specific, and how it can impact marginalized communities, intersectional marginalized communities. So we're thinking, think autistic, think Black autistic, basically. And I'm sure you can foresee like what can play out in that book. My latest book, Autistic and Black, it's our experiences of growth, progress, and empowerment, explores the unique challenges and triumphs faced by Black autistic individuals from over 7 countries, 4 continents. And yeah, like you said, I'm the founder of I'm Heard, which is a nonprofit channeling efforts towards the worldwide destigmatization of mental illness in minority communities. And I take all of this from like my research around the world, primarily at places like Harvard, Duke, and as a Fulbright scholar in Nigeria, and kind of try to utilize storytelling, like kind of fact-based evidence, like research, and 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 of course, I guess just to emphasize storytelling too, to drive change, for at this point, for neurodivergent people that are struggling with mental health issues, and to try to and find community, I love what you said, like find an environment for it.
Yeah, would you say the name of your organization again, please?
Yes, it's I'm Heard.
Yeah, so yours is an advocacy kind of thing, and or also reaching out to these communities maybe and
Yep.
inviting them to find a place where they can do some community building. You want to
You
expound on
nailed
that?
it. Yes, yes. So it's advocacy. It's where I put a lot of my so it's where most of my projects are. For example, a storytelling initiative where we're looking at neurodivergent people of color, where and also community members such as like psychologists in communities where it's underrepresented. So we got, for example, like a psychologist in Pakistan, a autism research coordinator in Iran, for example, people that we here in the West we don't really hear from as much. People will all come together and like talk about like best practices.
Hmm.
And I'm writing that up basically, and I'm looking forward to posting it on blogs and articles, and then eventually as one book for all of us to have access to.
Hmm. Yeah, I found your website. I will be adding this to my adult autism resources links page so others can
Oh,
find it.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. You know, my first show this month was with Shalise Hurd, who is known as the autistic travel goddess because that's what you know she does. Talks about being autistic and traveling and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I
wow,
did I
nice.
did a show with her in November about autistics traveling. It was brilliant. And one of the things that um, Shalise said earlier this month, some of the challenges just for Black individuals who are autistic, finding some community within their Black communities as well.
Mm. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I mean, Shalise has been in groups where she's been told you're much too loud in
Oh,
a space where Black autistics are Black people are kind of loud and already they're very open and very forthcoming as they are, and she was like too forthcoming, and so she's spoken about how a lot of that happens, um, so and then another one of my guests that has appeared is Precious Leslie. Again, a lot of what she said is that she finds it difficult to find her places among all of these communities.
yeah, sometimes I think us in the Black community, we especially the like African American community, like descendants of slaves community, we kind of I see like at least the online kind of chuckle going, at least like the good thing about these years is that at least everybody sees like everybody else sees. It's not just us feeling and everyone thinks that we're just that we're over exaggerating, like no, racism is gone, like there's no way that somebody could be doing that like in New York or Connecticut or something. At least it's that kind of conversation's gone now. Basically, that's like this one of the good things about all of this, like the silver lining.
Yeah,
I think if they're talked I maybe I don't have an opinion about like if they're talked more openly, but I think they're believed more
yeah,
basically,
yeah.
especially with racism. um to be honest, I don't really have much to add about like ableism before pre 2017, for
Yeah.
example, just because I wasn't diagnosed as autistic, so I never considered myself disabled, even though I was.
Yeah.
I definitely was was
Mm.
ostracized and left out for being autistic and disabled, but just I didn't know that. I probably assumed it was because of something else. I assumed it was because of something else back then. And um, so me saying like, oh, if I talked about like, oh, this person's ableist, I didn't have those words to say that
Mm.
pre 2017, basically. So I can't confirm or deny if like if
Mm.
so that's definitely for you to share about
Mm.
if how that's developed. But for the racism, with racism, yes, I think the just the how people believe the now people now believe like when you tell like a well-meaning person that I don't think this person is treating me well because of this, they're
Mm.
it's not just like completely scoffed off. And
Mm.
I do I'm not sure like what's done about it and like the good that's been done about it, but at least just the awareness is comforting, at least on my social media and stuff.
Yeah, and I fear that this DEI erasure is an attempt to silence those conversations.
Sure, yeah, that sounds like it's gonna backfire, but it might, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it might silence it in a boardroom, but yeah, on any casual place,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's gonna completely backfire.
yeah. Well, what we want to talk about next is about the question around interdependence.
Okay.
Let's talk about how Black autistics are leaders in their lives in their unique contexts. This is where I really like to focus on being proactive, and this is why this focus about navigating the future of multidimensional autistic leadership is so important. Um, you know, um, a lot of us autistic are presumed to be incompetent and incapable of speaking up and defending ourselves, so that's why they often do what they do. But the
Mhm.
point is that we are proactive when we, for example, turn the social media off and take care of ourselves.
Yes.
We are proactive by creating spaces like this podcast, like what you're doing
Yes.
on I'm Heard, by creating those spaces where it's safe to be who you are, to talk about the things that are affecting you and how they are, impacting you in your community, and while you talk about some ways that you are surviving or working through these things together. Maybe you'd like to elaborate on that. I mean, you know, where do you see Black Autistics leading again, and also, talk about some interdependence that may be going on in these situations.
Yes, I think um yes, leaning on as you're talking about interdependence, I would say yeah, leaning on the communities we have in person and the ones that we formed online has been really crucial, and also trying to disengage with with things that can harm our mental health, or just really just or even just distract us from what we're made for basically, honestly. I yeah I try to say about myself as a huge distraction, and I need to be writing my book, and I'm not gonna let somebody
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let some news thing just stop me from writing. That doesn't help anything, basically. And
Yeah.
I also lean on it's really important to really lean on for example, my husband, make sure I take good care of people that are dependent on me, like for example, like my son. It's time to sometimes the way to fight back is kind of just to kind of really nurture the next generation. I think
Yes.
I recently bought a lot more I got like the ABCs of Black history and like a lot of like history of Nigeria kind of books and stuff for him to read. And I think I've been intentional about it before, but I've the past few weeks I've been extremely intentional about it. Basically, and if I'm
Mm.
reading like one book of those a day to like now it's like five basically. And I think it's really important. I think it's a one way to yeah to to fight and to lean on people.
Right.
Not when people could be useful to me specifically. It's not like like for example, like my son needs me basically, and it's a really huge honor to nurture and to nurture him and watch him grow and help him grow. But and also like my online community too, online communities, especially on LinkedIn. It's been really nice to see the community I've just I want to say accidentally built, but like I didn't really see. I've been surprised at how big it's got. Basically, I've been
Yeah.
somebody who just has like 200 followers basically on Instagram for like 7 years in a row. So to now have like 6,000 on LinkedIn is it's a really huge deal for me, and it's really nice to talk with so many like-minded people
Mm.
consistently on messaging
Mm.
through posts. And I really appreciate the people in my LinkedIn sphere, specifically. And I do like my Instagram too,
Mm.
for book recommendations a lot too. And and I've been definitely tapping into that.
Yeah. No. I love the LinkedIn community. When I started today's autistic moment now 4 or 5, nearly 5 years ago, I mean, didn't know how far it was going to go, and I was on the other.
Sure.
I was and still am on Facebook, and I left X, Twitter X. I'm still on Instagram, and the podcast is now on Blue Sky. I just want to say that the LinkedIn communities, the autistic communities, the advocates, they're incredible there. I love the communities and the people I've engaged with on LinkedIn. I started having these shows in February about Black autistic adults because I know that they are not often well represented within the conversations about being autistic and divergent. I mean, and I started these conversations with the people I've had on, and what we've been talking about is, like Precious Leslie said this a while back, but if we're going to see the positive change we're looking for in the neurodiversity movement, then we need to have all of these different groups at the table talking together.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say one thing, I have seen many conversations go through my personal Facebook page that the removal of DEI is about LGBTQ people. Yes, I agree with that. But no one there talks about how it affects people with disabilities. And then I see other conversations happening that it's about disabilities, but it's not about people of color. It's like, and that's one of those things that I would have to say sounds like a failure of DEI.
Sure, right?
The purpose of it was
it's
to
so
bring
like, oh, it's yeah, it's sometimes I wonder if it's like if it's happening by accident, like, and how, like, for example, like people like me are communicating, or if if there are people that like sincerely kind of like have this kind of like battle of the oppression to kind of like thing, like who's the most
I
oppressed kind of
agree.
thing.
Yeah. What should have happened, and what we're hoping still will happen, is that we can bring the disability communities, the LGBTQ communities, the communities affected by racism, immigration, and autistics, neurodivergence, and others, that we all see each other as needing the supports we need, and
Yeah.
how we can work on them together.
Sure. No, I mean, just besides just, yes, I agree. I absolutely agree with that. I think we could do better by, working together and not doing like
Yeah.
this oppression Olympics. And also, it's, just to add to like just another pointer slash perspective. I'm sure you should probably share this perspective too. When you're seeing like this one Facebook post where it's like, oh, this is the worst thing to ever happen. Like if you're an autistic person, like this is going to be like the worst 4 years of your life. Kind of like just really yeah, really like it's really specific. Like you said, this anti-DEI thing is about us, basically about this one group. But then it's concerning and it's invoking panic, at least in me, kind of thing. But then like you see again, like this is the worst thing to happen to Black people, kind of thing. You're like, oh no. So yeah, I'm just hearing like to me, I personally go like, oh my gosh, oh no. It's like this is even like my internally I kind of start like panicking, kind of getting like those like really tense feelings in my chest and stuff, and getting really stressed about the situation before I start to think about like, no, this is just affecting everybody, like the DEI. But I think when you have all these intersectional identities, or even just that, or even just one, it provokes a lot of people maybe to freeze more than do something what's the word, do something like tangible, or do something that can that's useful for themselves or to the community, basically about
Yeah.
it. When it's really sensationalized, about like it just being only about this. I think that's another
Yeah.
another another bad thing about it.
Yeah.
About
And
that.
that's where some community building is important. Social media can be used to create groups of people to have these conversations together, and to find someone to say, this is really frightening, and people say, you're right, it is.
Yeah.
just to have someone validate what you're feeling sometimes is all
Sure.
you need. And we need to do that so that we can perhaps start to talk about a way forward, you know, and you know, what's happening with all these communities that DEI affects is, you know, we have those moments of panic. We're going to have those moments when it just hits us in the heart. It just hits and knocks us down. But we can't stay there. We have to, at some point, say, okay, what can I and with others, what can we do? And how can we do it?
Sure.
I mean, this is how organizations have started. This is how books are getting written. This is how,
Yeah.
you know, people are finding ways to ask for the supports they need. I mean, this is a real time for Black autistics and autistics in general to think about what supports they need and where they're going to get
Yeah.
them from, and how can they inspire movements or people to really begin to think about how to receive these supports.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely a reflection period. I remember, in 2017, actually, I thought about it. I was thinking like, oh gosh, I really could use more like close friends
Yeah.
when I felt just kind of alone, basically, and like just overwhelmed about everything going on in our country and the world. Understanding when I was diagnosed with as autistic too. And what I wanted to do with my life after, just in general. I've Thankfully being like in like a slightly similar situation now. I just kind of looked around and has been really thankful basically to that community is here, basically, even though I'm in the same scenario. Like, I just moved to North Carolina in 2017. Now I just moved to North Carolina in 2020, in 2024. So, but just that I really learned a lot of skills with community building, utilizing hedonic flywheel effect and everything, just to find people, my people, like in church and like just with like other moms and childcare and with my family and stuff. I think I'm in a better place, and I want that for all of us. And absolutely, I completely agree. That is definitely a moment to reflect on what do we need, and how do we get there? Like, how do I get there so this doesn't happen again in a few years? I don't feel as alone, basically.
After this final commercial break, we will express our appreciation to Kayla for this excellent conversation, followed by today's Autistic Community Bulletin Board.
Looking Forward Life Coaching is a Twin Cities-based nonprofit that provides mentorship and coaching for individuals, couples, and families, either face-to-face or virtually. Some areas that Looking Forward Life Coaching can provide services are organizational skills, time management, employment coaching, relationship coaching, and many more. Our coaches are trained in person-centered approaches, and we can provide person-centered plans with obtainable goals. We accept all waivers from the state of Minnesota, with the exception of elderly. We also have reduced rates and scholarships for private pay. If you would like more information or schedule a free meet and greet, visit our website at www.lookingforwardlc.org or call us at 612-504-7414. Looking Forward Life Coaching helps change stumbling blocks of life into stepping stones towards success.
On March 9th, Carol Jean Whittington will be here to talk about what is autistic leadership. What exactly is autistic leadership? What does autistic leadership look like for each autistic person? Carol Jean Whittington brings her enthusiasm and energy to what is sure to be a great conversation That is sure to be an exciting approach to what autistic leadership is about. Becca Lori Hector will be here on March 23rd for the episode Self-Care is Personal Autistic Leadership. Self-care is the best way you can help other people. When you take care of yourself by setting boundaries to regulate your autistic needs, you are doing personal leadership. Becca Lori Hector and I will talk about how self-care is taking ownership for your health and well-being so that you can do the important work of leadership through the example of how you interact with the world around you. Autism Acceptance Month will feature 2 shows about educating the future of autistic leaders and mentoring future autistic leaders. Thank you for listening to today's Autistic Moment. Well, Kayla, I want to thank you for being a guest on today's Autistic Moment. Your insights are excellent. Gives us all some things to really think about and hopefully to put into action. And this is very, very helpful. So thank you for being here today.
Sure. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're
It's an honor.
Today's Autistic Community Bulletin Board. All of these events and many others with their links not mentioned here are available on todaysautisticmoment.com/bulletin board. You are invited to the Adult Coffee Club for Autistic Adults in Minnesota. They are held on the second Tuesday of every month, weather permitting, at Dogwood Coffee, located at 2700 University Avenue West, Suite 100 in St. Paul, Minnesota. The zip code is 55114. The adult coffee clubs will begin at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on March 11th, April 15th, May 13th, June 10th. Understanding Autism virtual classes are offered by the Autism Society of Minnesota. The next classes will be on March 10th, 6 to 7 p.m., April 14th, 10 to 11 a.m., May 12th, 12 to 1 p.m., and June 9th, 6 to 7 p.m. Classes are free of charge, but you must register to attend. On March 7th, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Leah Kuipers will present the workshop, What's New with Zones of Regulation, Updated Approaches and Curriculum. Beginning on Saturday, March 15th, and continuing March 22nd and the 29th, from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., Jillian Nelson will present the workshop, Policy Power, Advocacy for an Inclusive Future. Register today to attend the 30th Minnesota Autism Conference, April 16th through the 18th at the Doubletree by Hilton, Minneapolis Airport Hotel on 2020 American Boulevard in East Bloomington, Minnesota. The zip code there is 55425. There will be keynote speakers, in-person and virtual breakout sessions, social opportunities for community building, and resource tables. The hyperlink to this event is on the transcript. Go to ausm.org to get more information about these and other social and recreational programs, educational events, counseling services, and support groups at the Autism Society of Minnesota. Min Neurodivergent is a social club rooted in a vision of bringing neurodivergent Minnesotans together to build meaningful connections. Its core principle is to foster an environment where all are treated with dignity and respect, regardless of ability or preferences. Go to their new website, minneurodivergent.org. For more information, become a member, volunteer, and attend their events. The Autistic Self-Advocacy Network invites autistic college students to join them for the 2025 Virtual Autism Campus Inclusion Academy that will be held on July 14th to the 20th. Click on the ASON Autism Campus Inclusion Academy link on todaysautisticmoment.com/bulletin board to get more information and apply by midnight on Sunday, March 9th. Umbrella US invites you to a webinar by Brainbow Media on March 19th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time entitled Accessibility Today Equals a Better Tomorrow. The cost is $20 and scholarships are available. Go to the transcript for this episode or todaysautisticmoment.com/bulletin board and click on Accessibility Today to register. Today's Autistic Moment is here because of the generosity of supporters and sponsors. Please go to todaysautisticmoment.com and select Support Today's Autistic Moment to donate. If you have questions about Today's Autistic Moment, please send an email to todaysautisticmoment@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to Today's Autistic Moment, a podcast for autistic adults by an autistic adult. May you have an autistically amazing day. All of the guests meet with me on Zoom to record the interviews. The interview transcripts are provided by Otter. The podcast is prepared and edited on WavePad Masters Edition by NCH Software. The podcast is published by Spotify for Podcasters. The music that you hear is licensed to Today's Autistic Moment by PremiumBeat.com.